We grow up believing that success follows a straight path, but often it begins with moments we almost ignore: a thought, a book, a quiet nudge, a conversation, an irritation. Welcome to the Shift series, where we uncover the ordinary moments behind extraordinary success.
Hello, my name is Fado Jolumide, and I am called Praximus. That is my alias. Okay, so I'm a mixing and mastering engineer. I'm a music producer. I'm a vocal arranger. I am I am a lot of things, but basically I work in entertainment. I make music. I mix and master music. I've worked with a handful of artists. I've worked with the likes of NOSA, TY Bello, a lot of them. Folabi Nuel, one to one seller, a lot of them, and yeah, and I'm thankful to God for that. So that's basically what I do. Also, I teach. Basically, I teach mixing and mastering. Also, have a couple of students that I'm teaching that I'm trying to, that want to scale up in their own skill, and then I just do my best, to contribute to teach them the little I know, for them to become better at their skill. So yeah, that's what I do. Also, I'm a pastor. I am an assistant pastor in a church, and one of my passions is actually um, the communicating the gospel the way Christ has, not adding myself, not adding what I think, but only what Christ says and only what Christ has communicated. Not interested in showing myself, less of me and more of Him, you know. So that's my practice. That's what I believe in everything. So yes, so I'm a pastor. I also pastor on the side. So not like on the side, like I mean I'm a Christian and my Christianity is every day, but I'm just saying I'm also actively pastoring a church. That's what I mean by on the side. Okay, so what was that experience that caused my shift story? So this was how it all happened. I was in I got into university and I was in biochemistry department. I was in biochemistry department for a while. Or rather, I don't even put it like that. That's wrongly put. I was in biochemistry department, and I remember very well that in my part one in biochemistry, I started to lose interest in biochemistry. I began losing interest because, well, my interest all the while has always been music. I've always loved music, always loved singing, always loved arranging vocals. It was something that gave me that pleasure. It was a pleasurable thing for me to do. It was something I did in my sleep. It was something I woke up to do. That was how pretty into music I was. And then but I was in biochemistry where I would have to wake up sometimes, go to class, look at biochemistry textbook, read about Krebs cycle and all of that. So at a point I lost interest. I actually lost interest quite early. But I remember that I could have done something about it. I mean in my part two I could have crossed to music, which I really wanted to. But I spent a long time grappling with the thought of what would people say. What would people say? Oh, I mean, I'm a smart kid now. What would people say if they now hear that I crossed from the biochemistry to music department? Oh, will my parents not be sad? People will be disappointed of me, as in story that nobody sent me. That was what I spent my time grappling with. That was what I spent my time struggling with. The thought of what would happen. So, because of that thought being atop my mind, I was in biochemistry, even though I wasn't doing great there. I wasn't concentrating. I was busy doing music, like music stuff, while I was in biochemistry. So my heart was not in biochemistry. I wasn't concentrating. Grades were looking really bad. Really, really bad. And I remember that, and by the way, I've always been a smart kid. I need to clear that up. So it wouldn't be misunderstood that oh it's because biochemistry. I've always been a smart kid. If there was nothing I laid my hands on that I couldn't get a hang of. But once the interest is gone, it's a completely different ball game. It was a completely different ball game. If it is something I really want to do and I lay my hands on it, I would do well in it. it's often my experience, and it's not even boasting. It's just how God has it's just God's goodness to me. Um, it's God's goodness to me. Whatever intelligence we may claim we have, it's God's goodness to us that has given us that. So, um, I mean, I got into biochemistry with 289, so it wasn't a fluke. I read for my exams as I should, but biochemistry wasn't looking good. I wasn't going to classes because I was tired of that. I was bored of going to classes. And I remember in my fourth year, um, and by the way, that fourth year, I wasn't going to graduate. There was no way in the world I would graduate because the grades were looking really bad. So there was no way in the world that graduation would happen at that fourth year. What would have happened would be for me to have multiple carryovers. That was going to be the outcome. And I remember that behind my back, one of my lecturers, who I had discussed with earlier, called my parents to school. That has never happened before. Never happened. Never happened in primary school. Never happened in secondary school. But it happened in university, where it often doesn't happen for a lot of people. So they called my parents to school and they opened up to them that my grades are really bad, that I don't come to classes. In fact, when they called me that my parents were in school, I was in my house in school. I was supposed to be in class. But they told my parents everything, that it's not looking really good. It's either he goes to another department or he drops out or he finishes here with a pass. And I remember that in that moment, it was a defining moment for me. It was a period where I was overwhelmed with guilt, and the part of the guilt is comes from this is me being a failure, and it was quite it was it almost enveloped me in that period because I remember that I would be my well, don't let me jump. So eventually they asked me what did I want, and the decision I made was to cross to music department in my final year, which was part four, and that's like starting university all over again. So um, I remember that I struggled with guilt. I was a bit depressed during that period because I had to take leave of absence, which simply means that that session, the second semester of that session, I wasn't part of it. I was in school, but I wasn't part of it. And I remember that it was such a very depressing period for me. I was at home, that is home in school alone. I couldn't come home. I wasn't going to come home to sit home for the next session to start. I wasn't going to do that. So I was in school, I was working, then I was working online on Fiverr. I was a writer, still a writer. I was writing books, writing poems, and all of that. And I was just home thinking. And I remember that what I found solace in then was knowing that, first of all, my decision to cross to the new department, which is music department, was me crossing to where I've always wanted to be, where I knew my skill, my passion would get more expression. So eventually that happened, and eventually I graduated with music department with really amazing grades. Eventually finished school. So I spent like 8 years in school. Yeah, 8 years. That's a long time. Eight, damn. So spent like 8 years in school, and then when I finished, I decided to do something along the lines of my music, which is mixing and mastering. And I began to study. Had people who were mentors to me, had people who led me in the right path, told me what to do, told me how to get better. I watched videos. I really gave myself to personal growth and development. I mean, I'm saying the tremendous growth likely happened within 2 years, and I just gave myself fully to it, that I really want to learn this and I really want to be great at this thing, and there's no going back for me. And passion took over. So I really fell in love with it, and I've been doing it since then, and it has been from great to greater. And so, if there are some core lessons that I have learned from my journey, the number one would be that it's it's important to stop thinking too much about what people will think about your decisions. I am not saying you shouldn't run your decisions by people whose judgment you trust. That is very important in life. In life, you have to have people whose judgment you trust, people of God who think God in a godly way. You understand what I'm saying? People who have trusted God, people who the Bible says in the multitude of counsel there's safety. So when you speak with these people, they will surely tell you what to do. And I had that with me. So when I'm saying don't care what people think about you, I'm not saying be nonchalant, just do whatever you want to do, don't run it by people. That's unhealthy. That's unhealthy. You would end up making a mess and making mistakes that you can't take back if you do that. Instead, bother less about the impression that your actions will cast in front of other people. Don't always think, oh, they will think I'm a failure, they will think I did not know book. That's your own stress. Nobody really, you understand. Don't put all that on yourself. So yeah, so pay less attention to what people think of you. When you know something is the right thing and you want to do it, do it. When you've run it by people, when you've prayed to God, when you've done all of that, do it. Don't waste time. That's the second thing I learned. Don't waste time. Don't waste time. I could have made that decision in my biochemistry part too. And I'll probably and I would have saved myself at least 3 years. Yeah, 3 years. So don't do that. Don't waste your time. When you need to do something, get to it, get it done, get it out of the way. It's an important life skill that we need to learn. So I mentioned the first point that I mentioned was what was the first point I mentioned? Pardon me. So the first point I mentioned, if I can remember again, is careless about what people think about you. Second point, don't waste your time. Third, whatever you decide that you want to do, ensure that you do it well. Ensure that you give yourself to studying. Ensure that you give yourself to growth in that particular thing. Don't do things wishy-washy in everything you're doing. Don't seek Nigerian standard, seek world standard. And I'm serious about that. What I presently do, I'm so thankful to God that even people outside the country hear my work and they're like, for real, this is in Nigeria? Are you serious? This is a good job. And I'm thankful to God for that. I'm not being boastful. I'm just saying that I gave myself to study. And I'm still studying. I'm still growing in it, and I'm still getting good at it, still getting better at it. So do whatever you have to do it well. Do it well. And lastly, commit your ways into the hand of God. This is not cliche. This is the only thing that matters. This is the only thing that is most relevant in all I have said. Always commit your ways into the hand of God. The Bible says, before your birth, He had known you. I'm saying before you were given birth to, God already knew you. So if you were gonna take any steps, shouldn't you commit it to the hand of the one who already knows the end from the beginning? It's the only option we have, and it's the best option we have. So commit your ways unto God and trust Him. Yeah, that's it. That's basically it. That's basically it. And then I also want to encourage you, if you're also in that place where you're thinking, I don't know what to do. I want to make a decision. If you're also in that place, or you're thinking that I'm a failure, don't. You can fail in something, but a failure is not someone who fails in something. It's someone that accepts the identity of being a failure, which simply means the reason why you fail is that you try. So if you try, you will fail. But the point is, you keep trying until you succeed. You fail when you now take it upon yourself that I am unable to try again. Do you understand what I'm saying? So If you're trying something you feel that it, get up, dust yourself up, look forward. Don't spend too much time thinking about all that has happened in the past or what badness. Don't worry. Just get up, learn from your past, and move forward and take hold of the future. Thank you very much for having me. Bye.
Thank you for joining me on today's episode of the Shade Stories podcast. I hope this conversation reminded you that sometimes, perhaps most times, all you need is a single moment to change your life forever. So never underestimate the ordinary moments in your life as they hold the key to something much bigger. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification button so that you'll be notified when we drop a new video. Until next time, bye.